Hello and welcome to today's video. You're watching the Flying Gato YouTube channel. My name is Elias. In today's video, we're going to be going over the 5 annoying things that Honda could very well fix in the next refresh of the Honda Civic Type R. These are 5 things that I find mildly annoying and feel that a manufacturer should fix before they bring a car out. Now, that is to say that this car is actually almost perfect. These 5 annoying things are by no means a deal breaker for this car. These are things that you can kind of find ways around. So let's go ahead and go over them. We're here at the back of the car because number one, I think it looks great from behind. This car has a great design back here. I think it's better than the FK8. The lines just kind of flow a lot better. I love the wing, etc. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about down here is the exhaust. I love those 3-port designs. I really do like the way it looks, but the way it sounds leaves something to be desired. Let's go ahead and listen to it. So in case you didn't realize, that was a cold start on a Civic Type R. Now granted it's not very cold out, but it has not been started in a day. And it gets even worse when you're inside. When you're inside, everything sounds okay. And by the way, I do have it in plus R mode for the engine sound. The worst part is though, when you put the windows down. Yeah, that exhaust note is not inspiring anybody at all. And it's easy to fix. I mean, you get a nice exhaust going. You can delete the 2 resonators and it'll get it, a little bit louder. You can get aftermarket exhaust. I'm probably gonna get an intake as well just to get a little bit of a blow-off noise valve going on. But honestly, from the factory, for a sporty car, this is probably one of the quietest exhausts I've ever seen in my life. The Integra Type S, which is based off of this car, has a much better sounding exhaust. I think they tuned in a little bit of a crackle pop tune, which, depending on how you feel about it, you may like it or not, but at least it's more exciting. It's better than this exhaust, and they delete one of the resonators for the Type S, again, making it sound that much better and that much louder. Now, I'm sure it's due to regulations or whatever the case may be, but man, these exhausts need to be changed up. And it's one of the first things I'm going to be doing or trying to do or figure out. I'm going to try to figure out which is the best exhaust system for these Civic Type Rs, and I'm going to install one into my car. While we're in here, of course, we can admire the interior layout. Of course, I love the way everything is laid out in here. Everything is very, very nicely done. But what I'm going to talk about here is the HVAC system. You see here I have it set at 72. Normally in my cars I have it set at 76 or 75 or 74, depending on what's going on. But in this car, I usually have it set at 72, and the reason is because I really want this AC compressor to work. I want this thing to be pumping out as much AC as it possibly can because this is a very weak HVAC system. Now, I come from a long line of Honda ownership. My first car was a Honda Civic wagon that actually didn't come with air conditioning from the factory, so I didn't get to experience the HVAC system with that. But I did have a Honda Prelude, and that had an amazingly well done air conditioning system. They effectively took the AC system they developed for the Honda Accord and put it into the Prelude. And it's only a 2-seater car, or basically a 2-seater. So it's a 2-door car, and it was extremely efficient at cooling you down. I also then experienced it in the 2001 Honda Accord V6. Wonderful car, great car, and it had a great HVAC system. They took that same HVAC system, put it into the Honda S2000 effectively without changing it too much, and man, the S2000 will almost literally freeze you out. It is that efficient and it's that cold in that car. I'm pretty impressed with the S2000's HVAC system. If you guys have been watching my C6Z06 videos, you also have heard me say that the C6Z06, the Corvette, has an amazingly efficient HVAC system. The AC blows cold even when it's really hot out. Now, we get to the 2016 and newer Civics, especially the hatchbacks. There's so much glass around me. You can see there's all kinds of glass around me, and that's great. That's a great thing about owning a hatchback. You have lots of great visibility. There's a problem with that though. And the big problem is that there's a lot of sunlight getting in. And so with a lot of sunlight getting in, you get the greenhouse effect, which then you have to combat with the air conditioning system. And after 2016, I don't know what happened. I think it's an environmental issue or EPA issue or something. But Honda changed all of their HVAC systems, you know, heating and cooling. And the air compressor, the air conditioning compressor is just not as strong as it used to be. There's a recall out for a lot of them for the previous generation, the 10th generation Civics. And these new generations, I think, are a little bit better, but they are still not that strong. It's still not blowing as cold as you really want it to sometimes. And I really feel like hopefully for the next refresh, Honda does something about improving the cooling of the interiors of their Civics, especially their Type Rs. I mean, we're paying almost $50,000 for these cars. Now for this next one, I'm actually gonna open the hood and show you guys in detail what I think Honda could have done to improve it, but I'm gonna talk about the suspension. Now, it's weird to talk about the suspension in this car because this is some of the best suspension you'll find in any vehicle today. Honestly, the dual axis suspension's really, really nice. Big explosion. Sorry about that, my neighbor's blowing up tannerites. Anyway, so right here in this wheel well, you'll find a really, really sophisticated system. It's called a dual axis pivot. I can explain that in a different video, but for today's video, what I'm talking about is the lack of adjustability for this thing. This doesn't have a way to increase or decrease camber as you'd like. In most sports cars today, you have a ton of adjustability when it comes to camber adjustment, toe adjustment, caster adjustment. In these cars, there's very few things that come from the factory. You could do a couple of different things to change the geometry, but honestly, the lack of customization is a big problem. Let me show you. Looking under the hood, there's one major way Honda could improve this car. If you look right here, there's this little pin. All you got to do is remove this pin, and you do get a little bit of adjustability. Some say between 0.5 to 1.3 degrees, negative degrees of camber, which is nice. I like that you're able to do that, but that's not quite enough camber in my opinion, and it's kind of a rigid way to do things. Let me give you guys a closer look. So here it is. This is the top of the strut tower. So this is where the strut sits, right? So all of the forces of the wheel sit on this strut tower right here. There's a lot of pressure and weight going on in this corner right here. Now, you can see those are the strut tower mounts. That's the pin. You can take this pin off. I've done a video on this on the FK8. I'll do it on this one when I do it. But you take this pin off, you can adjust the degrees of camber, and then there is a toe adjustment down there. And I mean, the only real way to adjust the toe is through the tie rod end links, which is effectively your steering rods. Honda could put a system up here, actually similar to the way the Camaro did it, where if you flip the strut around, it gives you 2.5 degrees of negative camber. It wouldn't be that complicated to do. They just have to kind of design a top hat that can do it. Hell, they could even do a racing top hat like Fortunato or others where you can adjust it manually a lot easier. And it would give us track guys a lot easier way to change the camber. It's definitely an oversight, and it won't cost that much more money to make that change. What do you guys think in the comments? While we're talking about the suspension, the wheels are a very big part of the suspension system. And I think Honda missed an opportunity here that they kind of went in the correct direction of. If you guys recall, the previous generation, the FK8 Civic Type R, used 20-inch wheels. Luckily, these are 19-inch wheels. And the reason I say luckily is because the smaller the wheel diameter, the more meat you can get around the wheel. Now, these low-profile tires do increase the responsiveness of your car. The lower the profile, usually, the more responsiveness. But there is a kind of a point of diminishing returns, and I think Honda should offer an 18-inch wheel package from the factory. It would really improve the way we can buy tires, the tire availability, and it'll reduce the bounciness of the suspension, I think. And it'll also increase the comforts. I mean, there's so many different reasons why you should downsize to an 18-inch wheel, which is exactly what I'm going to do. This is not really on my list, so consider this kind of a bonus one. But here we are at the rear brakes. I really wish Honda gave us a Brembo style rear brake caliper. These are just a sliding disc style. It's not that hard to change the pads, but it's way easier to change the pads on a Brembo style brake. I wish Honda gave us some Brembo brakes. Hopefully some bigger diameter rear brakes would be nice. Not necessary, but it's a nice to have. I know it's cost cutting, etc., but it would be really cool if Honda did that. For this last one, we're gonna go over Honda's lighting package. So what I did was I turned on all of the lights and put the blinkers on. First, we'll start with the great, the really great. The front headlight is amazing. The turn signal's perfect. You get the stripes on the side, on the top and the side. And then these headlights are so bright. I love these things. I think they're really well done. I don't think I'd change a thing about these front headlights. It's everything else that I think Honda kind of missed the boat on, and let me show you. Again, we're at the back, and it almost feels like Honda kind of gave up as they came back here. The exhaust needs work, and now these tail lamps need a ton of work. You can see inside, the reverse lights is an incandescent bulb. I think that's kind of cheap. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, but I would prefer if these were LEDs and brighter LEDs so that when I hit reverse, I'm able to see behind me a lot better. So that should be addressed. Hopefully it does get addressed in the future. Then you got the rear turn signals, also an incandescent bulb. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, not bad, but I wish these were brighter in the back. It would really increase, you know, the look of the car and the visibility of the car. Although, honestly, because it's all red, this thing has enough visibility. Something else I'm not too much of a fan of is when you open this, Honda used to be really good about this, but they used to usually give you a light, you know, somewhere, and there is that light right there, but that's not enough. That really isn't enough. There's a very large space. They should give you 2 lights and make them a lot brighter. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to upgrade whatever bulbs in there to be a lot brighter so that when you open this, you could actually see things at night. Finally, we get to this light here. That's the only real light that's back there. And yeah, you have these front lights here, but back there, that's the only light, and it's really weak. I think Honda should put a much stronger light up there. It's a minor miss, it's a minor problem, but altogether I think the lighting package of this car could use some upgrades. So I'm going to be taking a look at ways to upgrade these things, and I will do a future video of me upgrading the lighting package of this car. There you have it, guys. In conclusion, are any of these things deal breakers? As I said at the beginning of the video, they are not. These are annoyances that I feel a $50,000 brand new car should not have coming out of the factory. I mean, how much can it cost really to put some LEDs in here? Can't cost that much. In fact, I think every single Civic should have LEDs instead of incandescent bulbs, but you know, maybe I'm preaching to the choir. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. The other thing, like I talked about, is the exhaust. I understand there's regulations, it's a worldwide car. This car is actually, in case you didn't know, one of the, I think the last few cars you can buy from Honda that's still built in Japan. This car right here came from Japan on a boat. And so I think it's pretty cool that that's true. And so I expect this car to have, you know, some compromises because it's a global car. But in a sports car, especially a cool sports car like this, with this exhaust, it's just not cutting it for me. I'm going to be changing that up. One thing I didn't mention, I'm going to help the AC system, the HVAC system, the weak HVAC system, by tinting the crap out of the windows. I live here in northern Florida, and we do get pretty hot summers. And even in the winter, it always kind of heats up, and we get a lot of good sun. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I'm here, but I don't want to be in a hot cabin driving down the road, so I will be tinting my windows. I'll be looking at the best quality stuff. If you guys have any suggestions, again, down in the comments below, please. That'll help me out a lot. And that's about it, guys. So if you have anything that I missed, anything you're annoyed at, if you own one of these, anything that annoys you about them, let us know in the comments below. Really appreciate when you guys comment down there. It's like a forum. It helps other people out. We have hundreds and hundreds of comments, people that I read and people read, and it helps all of us out as a community. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off here. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.